Welcome to the Greatness Together podcast. Curious minds unite. Mother-daughter conversations that delve into the heart of psychology. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Simonne, ask me a question about what our topic is.
What's our topic? Hey, Mother.
Hey, daughter.
What's our topic, Mother?
We're talking about owning who you are.
Juicy.
Juicy.
Important.
You thought of this topic when you were away this summer.
I did. Period.
Tell me all the things. I want to hear all the things.
Well, I had a very owning myself realization because after meeting a bunch of humans and being exposed to many different personalities and characteristics and traits,
As you would.
often I found myself being like, how do I adapt this characteristic of this random human?
Adopt it?
Adopt. Yes, sorry, adopt.
Yes.
Taken for myself.
Yes.
And then I was like, hold up. I don't think I need to be doing that. First of all, it's not possible due to the fact that their characteristics stem from their whole childhood and many things that have been leading up to that specific
Including
moment.
maybe the country that they came from.
Yeah, or possible trauma or not trauma.
Or
happy
in
childhood.
Psychology, it's possible. Everything has to be a possibility.
Yeah.
Of trauma.
And so I was like, why do I want this random characteristic that this person has in their personality? Yeah, it might make them maybe funnier in a group situation, but there are still so many aspects of me that I've even been told other people would like of mine, Like I've been told that like some of my characteristics are desired by others. Like there's always just like comparison
Which
going
is why
on.
we've talked about that in so many episodes.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 or 3 at this point. Listen to them.
Oh.
And
Oh, that's so good. If you missed it, folks just listening, Simonne had a big old wink for the camera. Yes. Wink it out.
Head bash and everything.
Wink it out, girl. Yeah. You had a whole moment like, wait a minute. Why do I want those characteristics? People want characteristics of me. That's literally not possible.
But it really is not possible. There is no human that can be identical to another. Even like identical twins, like they're always going to be different because everyone experiences different things. And I am the person I am because of every single thing that's led up to this second. And so, like, it's really not worth it always just trying to figure out how you could be different or more like someone else because you're just going to live your life in disappointment because it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe you can be influenced by someone, but you cannot be someone. You cannot act the way someone else acts or be as funny as someone because that's just instantaneous for them.
Well, maybe if you really want to be funnier, let's say, so take an improv class, read books, watch funny comedians, and then be your own version of funny.
There you go.
Because we don't really need 2 Tina Feys in the world. 1 is fantastic. 2 might be a little much even at a party, Yeah. So I think that what really resonates for me is if we waste all the mental, emotional, physical, cognitive, social, and other related energy, spiritual maybe?
Spiritual?
That energy on trying to be something else, somebody and something we're not, then we miss we miss all that time that we could be incubating our own greatness.
It's true. And why, rather than recognizing how you could change, recognize how you are individual and unique in your own ways, and recognize your own greatness.
Hello. And I love how your hack was when you notice something that you admire, that might be the word to use, admire, or you observe in the other person that you think is appealing, and then you think, wait a minute, other people would say that characteristics that I possess are appealing. Take a pause, take a moment, and reflect on those rather than get focused on what you're not and who you're not. So I love that you have already found that out at 19, because I think I might have spent a good portion of my 20s and maybe even my 30s looking at try to emulate other people more so than refining who I was. I might have listened a lot and been so hungry for feedback from other people about what I should do and who I should be, that I don't have any regrets, because we don't do regrets, right?
Hashtag no regrets.
Hashtag no regrets. I do feel like I lost my way a little bit.
Yeah, it's very possible.
I do feel like I had to figure out who Sarah was in my 30s, early 40s. She was a little lost. A lot of time observing what was going on out there. Not a lot of time observing what was happening in here and who I was and who I'd always been.
And how did you find who you had always been and who you is and who Sarah is?
Well, I think the biggest shift was a massive life change when we decided as a family to quit our life and start again. So I literally left my job and decided to work for myself, and we sold everything, we liquidated our life, and we moved here to Niagara, and I started my own business. You have to do a lot of soul searching. And I had to dig around there in my professional experience and say, what am I good at? I had to think about what would I want to spend the second half of my career focused on. So therefore, what do I know how to do and what do I love? And why do I love it? Is it something that's natural in me? Is it something that I've worked hard to build? And you know what I realized through all of that? I spent a lot of my time, career-wise, building signs of worthiness that you could put on a resume or hang on a wall, or just validating my existence. And as soon as I realized, and I say this to other people too, especially those who are starting their own business, what if you never had to do another certificate, another designation, that everything you need, and obviously if you're in school, that's not, I don't mean like 19-year-olds, I mean people my age. What if everything that you needed to be exceptional and happy and satisfied and engaged and full on in your work and in your life and in your friendships, you already had it? What would you do? Exactly. People look like those big eyeballs. That's how you know that you don't know what, and can accept that who you are, there's nothing you don't need to change. Because part of the sign that you don't need to be different, just like you were saying, when you would go traveling and you would see, you would observe things that you would want to emulate in other people. It's the same way with external validations of worthiness too. So I think that's one of the things is we need to notice, even when we're thinking that there's another thing to be or do outside of ourselves, and instead look inwards about what already exists and curate and cultivate and own more of it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're talking a lot about like living for other people versus yourself, which is an upcoming podcast episode.
Yes,
Tune in, you'll get a quick sneak peek. Ahora, which is right now in Spanish. Get it?
I
Get
thought it was
it?
a look.
Oh, ahora.
Right now. Okay, right.
But you know that.
Yes. Having done Duolingo for a year and a half, yes, I'm basically
She's
fluent.
gone far.
Yeah.
But even what you were talking about, how you found yourself when you came here, it's because you kind of started living for yourself more. Like before, back in Dundas, you were working for someone else. You were like not just a full-time hospital HR woman. You were a full-time mother, and then when we moved here, we started to get more independent. So you were like taking care of yourself more, and just a lot of today, we like during a lot, like I don't know, even see myself doing a lot. I live for other people more. So like, how can I satisfy others? How can I like work under other people? But then when you start living for yourself, and you consider when or how you can satisfy yourself rather than satisfying other people, that's when you find yourself more and just realize more.
People pleasing is a total crutch.
Yeah.
People pleasing is definitely a way to be invisible to yourself.
Yeah.
And I think so much of what we're talking about is looking at and acknowledging who you are, and it is enough, and it is exactly what you're supposed to be, and not hiding behind degrees or designations or people pleasing or other shiny distractions.
Yeah, because you could always be more. There's always more you could do. There's always a bigger personality you can be, or other certifications you can get. But are like where you're at right now, do you have most of your boxes checked off? Like knowing your personality, has that gotten you to attain friends and maybe a family? Has your like educational past, has that allowed you to get like a comfortable job, steady job? And are you just not like self-aware enough to be comfortable in who you are, owning who you are? If not, that's when maybe you need to consider external changes, possibly. Not whole reroutes, but
So basically what you're saying is, if what you really most want, need, desire, and dare I say deserve, if there are signs of that, then definitely look, and you deserve to make those changes. I think what you were saying at the beginning, and I totally hear you, is that that's probably the exception rather than the rule. So what if we all walked around the world believing that we didn't need to change, that who we were, and as you say, everything that's brought you to this point is exactly what you're supposed to be and who you are. And you don't need to change, and you don't need to be like other people. You don't need more of that characteristic and less of that. And I have to tell you, that is, I think, one of the signs of a happy life, is when you can say, this is who I am, and this is what my life includes. It's not necessarily settling, it's accepting and settling into yourself.
there you go. Yep.
There you go.
It's not environmental, like physical surrounding. I think it's like embodiment. Embodiment, settling.
Embodiment. I like that word. There's an embodiment of yourself, of who you are.
Embody it, y'all.
Oh,
You
you're
is you.
so much farther along than I was, and I always thought I was pretty darn far along, and I am, and I was. But wow, I'm telling you, your generation teaching us stuff, and you are one of the strongest, most self-aware, and grounded in who you are people that I've ever met, and you've always been that way, Simonne, and I'm so glad that life has not taken you off that course. I'm glad you've just become more of who you are and yourself.
Gracias.
De nada.
You too, ma.
Merci.
Très bien.
Très bien.
Danke.
Thanks so much for joining us for the Greatness Together podcast. Never miss an episode. Subscribe wherever you catch your podcasts. Yours in greatness, Simonne and Sarah.